is about to be released.
Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, the company behind the creation of ChatGPT, tells ABC News that he is a little bit scared of his company's creation. And he admitted that the artificial intelligence technology is going to eliminate a lot of current jobs. The ABC interview Thursday followed OpenAI's Tuesday release of a new, more powerful version of the AI tech, ChatGPT 4. Which has the ability to understand images. It can also solve puzzles and describe the meaning of internet memes. The 37-year-old CEO noted that he is concerned about the technology falling into the wrong hands, including authoritarian governments. Tasha Stevens reporting.
More on these stories at srnnews.com.
The following program is sponsored by the law offices of Patrick L. Smith. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. Get ready with your legal questions and call Patrick now. 877-943-9673. Again, that's 877-943-9673. The law office is open. And now your host, Patrick Smith.
Oh, hi there, and welcome to another edition of the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith. Today is Saturday, March 18th, 877-943-9673. That's your live and local studio line. And for those of you watching on Instagram or Facebook right now, everyone's alive and doing well. I'm not headed to a funeral after this. I'm unusually dressed up for a Saturday morning. I actually have shirt, tie, and cuffs on. And for those of you watching, you can actually see evidence of this. It's because of the Solo Parent Conference that I'm headed directly to after this. They're actually just getting started now over at the Solo Parent Conference, and they begin officially at 8:30. And yours truly, I believe, was informed I start speaking at 10:15. That accommodates us to spend the hour with you answering your legal questions. But if you want to make a last-minute reservation, I think there's still time for you to reach out to Shepherd's Village out of Largo and book your spot for the Solo Parent Conference today from 8:30 to 2 at the Indian Rocks Baptist Church in beautiful Largo, Florida. So if you want to give them a call or just reach out to their website, shepherdsvillage.com, and you can meet me personally. I'll be speaking there at 10:15 in the main room. And we will be with you for the next hour until then. So if you want to give us a call with your legal question, 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. You can give us a call now. We're live and local. Today, I wanted to spend some time talking about Silicon Valley Bank. It's in the news, and it's a big topic of discussion, and it's relating a lot to our practice, and I'll kind of wind that down and connect those dots for you. But a little bit for those of you who aren't familiar with Silicon Valley Bank, as far as what happened with Silicon Valley Bank. According to the Washington Post, Silicon Valley Bank, which catered to the tech industry for about 30 years, collapsed on March 10th, 2023. So about 8 days ago, after the Santa Clara, California-based lender suffered from an old-fashioned bank run. State regulators seized the bank and made the FDIC corporation its receiver. So at the end of the day, they are now under the control of the FDIC, and this run was essentially what happened. But what was the cause? What was the root of the run? The root of the run was this. According to the Washington Post, Julian Mark, the bank held a high percentage of government bonds that plunged in value as the Federal Reserve increased interest rates. An announcement that the bank was trying to raise money sparked a run from depositors looking to withdraw their money. The bank collapsed. So they were doing, a capital raise. They were raising capital, and it made depositors nervous. Depositors went to get their money, and you had a good old-fashioned bank run. And that's the short version of what happened. Our question to you, the Attorney Patrick Smith Show Nation, is in these situations, really two-part question. So part number one, should the government bail out a bank when something like this happens? So that's question one. To bail out or not bail out? Should the government step in? Is it better to let the free market valley or free market economy run its course? Or is it best to have the government intervene for the sake of protecting the overall economy? So you're welcome to call in and express your opinion on that. And then number two is, what legislation do you think we should propose? So we're going to put on our legislator hats, and what kind of legislation do you think they should be considering to avoid situations like Silicon Valley Bank, if any? If we should be proposing any legislation, what would your thoughts be? So, and speaking of future legislators and future legislation, joining us now is Alexis Trapp. Alexis, welcome back to the show.
Hi, Patrick. How are you doing?
I'm terrific. For those of you who recall, Lexi is actually interning and was actually interning with me for quite a while. But Lexi is joining us today because she is one of the student coordinators for next week's 51st annual Model Senate at Stetson University. So, Lexi, how's the preparation coming?
It is coming along so well. I'm so excited to see this event become a real thing. I mean, after last year, we had our event in March, and I mean, come April, we were already planning for this year. So it is a long time coming. We are so excited to see it. We are so excited to have you back on campus with us. I know a lot of people are really excited to see you, be able to talk with you, and overall just really get the Stetson experience with Model Senate.
Well, Lexi, we appreciate you, Dr. Hill, Gabby, and the rest of the team working so hard to make the event a success. And this will be next week, and yours truly will be in attendance. So if you're one of the attendees, feel free to come over, shake my hand. I'll actually be there for the duration of the event. I'll be there from the start of day one all the way through the awards banquet Saturday night. So I'm looking forward to that. And we are also, I was just talking to Mr. Joe Weaver about this. We're also going to be broadcasting live again from WHAT, the Watt Studios there at Stetson University next Saturday. So look forward to that very special annual Model Senate broadcast of the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. So Lexi, any thoughts on Silicon Valley Bank and how to fix that or avoid it in the future?
You know, I truthfully don't. However, I will definitely be able to have an answer for you next Saturday, and I can 100% bring that up for sure.
See, and Lexi had no idea I was going to ask her that question, but this is what I do with my interns. I just sort of throw fastballs at them, but she handled it so well. Lexi, A+. If you don't know the answer, you admit it and you say, I'll get you the best answer and I'll get it to you when I can. So well done, Lexi. We appreciate you. And thanks to the rest of the Stetson family. And we'll see you guys soon.
Of course. Thank you very much, Patrick. We will see you super soon.
All right. Bye, Lexi. All righty. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. And that's Lexi's actual voice. That's not a gimmick. She's really just, she's the personification of sunshine. She is human sunshine. She's always positive and upbeat. And she's going to make a fantastic attorney one day. So if you want to be part of the show, 877-943-9673 or email me, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. And again, to be part of the show, your comments on Silicon Valley Bank. Should we bail them out? Should the government stay back and do nothing? And what sort of legislation do you think would better avoid these sorts of crises? 877-943-9673. All right, let's go to Sarasota. Let's talk to Joanne. Joanne, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm thinking about this. I was in the banking financial business, and the safeguards are already in place, really. He's breaking all the rules, but I want to bring up, Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. Do you notice no one's mentioning that name or that man?
Well, we've certainly mentioned it here. I don't know, a couple of months ago when that story broke, we did an entire show dedicated to it. So, but you're right. In the news cycle, and this often happens. I mean, it happened with Hurricane Ian victims. The news cycle moves on to what's fresh. And if you're,
but the thing about it is he is from there. And he donated so much money to the Democrats. I mean, a terrible amount of money. And suddenly, this bank is being bailed out. And his name, I'm sure he was involved with it in some way, shape, or form.
So I think you're of the opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong, Joanne, the government should not be bailing them out.
No, they shouldn't, because that's not the way to run a bank.
Okay. And
there are rules in place. You're insured to up to, what is it, 250 now?
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that and some of the myths on FDIC. So you always hear that big number, it's 250. And you hear people, one of the myths was you're only insured up to $100,000. Well, that's not so much a myth as it is just outdated, really, really outdated information. I think it was 2008 was the last year it was 100,000. Currently it is 250, but it is possible for that 250 to increase. And a lot of times people calculate their 250 and they use funky calculations and they think they have more protection. So it's one of those things it's intensely fact specific and circumstance specific to which accounts you have at the institution and how they're titled and how many accounts you have. And there's sort of a
Exactly.
calculus to running that. But I'm preaching to the choir. You were in the banking industry, Joanne. Hey, Joanne, let me ask you another question.
Sure.
I've had an outbreak this past week at the law office with bank employees giving legal advice. And I mean, everything from, you send a client to the bank to fund accounts into their trust, and then the bank employee will say, well, why are you doing this? We could just do a beneficiary designation instead. And I even had one particular bank employee say something about not even a funding direction, but making a comment on an actual term, like reviewing the document and being like, tell me why you drafted it this way. So in my opinion, that's overstepping. I don't think bank employees really need to be giving that sort of advice. Have you ever seen that, or did you ever do that in your banking career?
Well, you remember now, I'm way retired, very senior. But back in the day, we had certain ways we could set up accounts. And if an individual came in, you, as you said, title it. You can title it many different ways. But I don't think if people are coming in and have legal advice already, that the bank employee should sort of go in another direction. Do you?
Well, you're buoying my spirit this morning. I mean, this is exactly what I was hoping to hear from a bank employee, is that when a client comes in and says, my attorney said to do this, the bank employee says, absolutely, let's get that done per your attorney's advice, not to turn around and immediately question that advice.
No, absolutely not.
And it's not so much, I mean, it's just one of those things where, and I've heard all kinds of stories. You have the nosy neighbor who loves to give legal advice. Okay. And we all know what we're getting when the nosy neighbor gives us legal advice. You're getting what you paid for, basically. And then the other end of the spectrum would be like a real malfeasor, someone who pretends to be an attorney and is in fact not. I'm not saying the bank's doing that, but on that spectrum, the nosy neighbor who's giving, unlicensed legal advice, and then someone who's pretending to be an attorney and actually is not. On that spectrum, where do you think the bank employee sort of overstepping the bounds falls? Is it closer to the nosy neighbor, or is it closer to sort of that more aggressive type at the other end of the spectrum?
Well, I have a feeling that the training and apprenticeship is not there because of the lack of personnel. People are frantic for employees, and they're poorly trained. And a lot of people today, because they're internet savvy and they read a lot on the internet, they're suddenly experts in everything, but they're not.
Amen. I couldn't agree more with that. And Joanne,
there's no substitute for experience and maturity.
Well, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it smacks to me of exactly that, someone training and mentoring. But Joanne, we appreciate your insight. And how many years were you in the banking industry?
Practically all my life. I was
wow.
in the mortgage banking, but I started out in the S&L and moved along. I worked for the big builders here in this state.
Okay.
And also one that came from New York, Levitt. You remember Levitt? Levittown, New York?
A long time ago.
Right.
Now,
yeah, I'm just throwing that out. But the point is, I grew up in the financial business. Let's put it that way.
Well, that elevates your opinion even more. So we really appreciate you sharing your thoughts with us on Silicon Valley and bank employees. And Joanne from Sarasota, you're a regular now, if I'm not mistaken. You've called in several times before.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yes, I have. I enjoy speaking with you. P.S. You said you had cufflinks on today.
I do.
Love a man with cufflinks.
Well, and so they are my B-52 bomber, my ode to World War II cufflinks. My grandfather was actually in World War II, so these make me think of him when I wear them. So I
love the history of, and I just watched The Longest Day.
Okay, yeah, a great movie.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thank you. Great talking to you. And I do think that this Bankman-Fried is involved in some way, and it's not being mentioned who the depositors are. It's scary. The whole thing is scary.
You know what?
Let me just say this. I was going to buy a CD this week, and I asked somebody in the bank, I said, what is your financial health? How are you rated? It's a bank out of Canada that bought, I think, Harris Bank. Long story short, they couldn't even figure out how to check it out. I had to show them. It is a sad mess.
Well, and Joanne, we're going to have to, for callers like you and obviously Patricia from Lakewood Ranch and Chris from Tampa, we're going to have to come up with a name, like a nickname for you guys that call in so regularly and consistently. So we got to start thinking
Thank
of a
you.
nickname.
Have a beautiful day.
You too, Joanne. Happy Saturday, okay? All righty,
Bye-bye.
877-943-9673. One of our regulars, Joanne from Sarasota, calling in to share her thoughts on the Silicon Valley Bank issue. 877-943-9673. Or if you're a bank employee and you want to call in and talk about, either witnessing this, sort of giving advice over the counter that's sort of beyond the scope of a banking relationship, or if you're out there and you've received such advice from a bank employee, please don't say which bank or anything like that. It's more about what advice were you given that sort of went outside the bounds of banking advice. So if you want to call in and share that opinion in addition to the Silicon Valley thoughts, 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number. You can email your question directly to me. That's Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com. Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com, or call us now. We'd rather talk to you live and local. 877-943-9673. All right, next we're going to go to Port Charlotte and we're going to talk to Henry. Henry, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Good morning, Patrick. How are you?
I'm doing great, Henry. How's Port Charlotte today?
Well, that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you. We're still trying to recover from the hurricane. I mean, it's been almost 6 months, and a lot of people down here, including myself, are having issues dealing with our insurance companies. So I had two specific questions for you. Number one is, the state provides laws and rules that define how insurance companies have to deal with the claim once it's been made, correct?
They do.
Okay. And those, I mean, there seems to be a lot of rules that are defined for the initial claim when it comes in. Now, we're 6 months into it. There's secondary claims that we're dealing with and we're trying to get paid. Is there any laws that we can use as insurance customers to try to expedite the claims and getting paid?
So the short answer is yes, and we're actually putting together a show on this exact topic. So we're attempting Senator Jonathan Martin for District 33, who's actually been a guest on our show, I think, a couple of times before. Once the legislature is out of session and they're not up there in Tallahassee working hard, making Florida better, we're going to attempt to get Senator Jonathan Martin, who actually represents District 33, which I think might include Port Charlotte. I know it includes Fort Myers Beach and Fort Myers and a lot of the areas hit hard by the hurricanes. So that's exactly one of the topics we're going to delve into sort of in depth. And that's sort of, not only is Jonathan a sitting state senator, he's also a practicing attorney who happens to practice in that field. So he's going to be able to speak directly to that. If you want to talk to him sooner, Henry, just reach out to my office line. I'll give out the office line here shortly, and I'll put you in touch directly with Senator Martin so that you can ask those questions and get those answers directly from the horse's mouth.
Oh, okay, great.
All right.
That's awesome.
But
Now, and just as a little sidebar, if I may ask
Sure.
here, we're regularly communicating with our insurance company. Is there any language that we should use, I guess, in our communications to help us make our case to the insurance company and help them to make them try to expedite responses and payments?
Well, I think the fact that you retain counsel to represent you sort of is the message you want to send. I think having representation anytime you're working with an insurance company, probably a great idea. And at least a consultation with your own private attorney to see whether or not they would recommend that. I think that, safe's better than sorry on something like this. And when you're dealing with insurance companies, it's just a matter of, sometimes the interests aren't mutual and they don't align. So you have an adversarial situation and you need someone to advocate for you with your insurance company. And that's what an attorney would do.
Okay. And that's what we've been trying to handle with ourselves. Our next step was to take it up, I guess, bump it up to the public adjuster level.
Yeah.
And then after that, probably take it up to, be represented by counsel then.
Well, and I'll be honest with you, I've had multiple interactions with insurance companies over the years and haven't needed an attorney yet. It's just been a matter of submitting the claim. And then they make the payment. So in situations like that, it's operating as designed, so to speak. But in some of these unfortunate situations, where you get rejected or denied, or the amounts are way in different universes, you do have to get an attorney involved. And you're not alone out there, Henry. There's going to be lots of people that call into that broadcast who are in exactly the same boat you are.
Yeah, I'll look forward to that. Thank you.
All righty, Henry. We'll tease it the week before when we wind up. We're just booked so many weeks out with great shows coming up for you guys. I don't know exactly, but it's also going to depend, like I said, on the legislature being out of session, so they're not up in Tallahassee. But we will do that broadcast as quickly as we can get to it, Henry. So stay tuned.
Okay.
All righty. Have a great day, Henry. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
All righty. 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number to be part of today's show. 877-943-9673. You can give us a call now, and we're happy to help any way that we can, or email me directly, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. I mentioned that office line. If you want to set up your complimentary consultation with me or speak with me directly at the office, it's 877-754-6764. Again, that toll-free office line for any of our offices. If you want to schedule in Clearwater, Sarasota, Sun City Center, any of our office locations. We also have offices up in Claremont and the Villages. You can call one toll-free number to schedule for any of those offices. Again, 877-754-6764. That's also the number you can call if you want to book yours truly to come out and speak to your club, group, or organization on a topic of your choosing. But we would want to talk to you today. 877-943-9673. All right, let's go to Tampa and let's talk to Charlie. Charlie, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
How you doing? No, they should bail these people out. They should get rid of fractional banking, and they should prosecute and or at least take away these bank managers' ability to manage money ever again. And that'll keep everybody in check.
So lifetime ban is what you say.
I mean, if you get a business license and you do wrong, they take it away from you.
All right. I mean, listen, I see the rationale there. It's one of those things where, if you fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So if they make the mistake once, fair enough, but we're not going to give you the opportunity to make the mistake again. Is that the spirit of your comment, Charlie?
Absolutely, especially with this dollar amount. And being the fact that this guy, the director, said on the Federal Reserve Board of San Francisco, said, "Come on, man, who's the fool here?"
Well, it's another situation where a lot of people feel like, is the government there for everyone, or is the government there for just certain people? And I think that this is one situation where you're kind of feeling like, hey, are they there for the everyday man, or are they there for these major banks, or are they there for both? And what I hear kind of in the tone of your voice is that in a world where the government can't be there for both, you would rather them be there for the everyday man as opposed to these major corporations.
No, actually, the government is not there for us. I mean, if the government were there for us, they'd at least audit the Federal Reserve. There's a great book, I'm sure you've read it, called The Creature from Jekyll Island, and it goes into great detail about the banking system. I was shocked to hear about it, and most people don't even realize that there have been 5 other Federal Reserves that have gone down in flames and taken our economy down with it.
Well, and I'll be honest with you, Charlie, my thought on this is kind of what I posted this week on my social media. I posted a interview that the great President Reagan did with Johnny Carson, and he made the comment, paraphrasing a little bit, that basically if the government slipped away for 3 weeks, we may not even notice they're gone, because there's few things that the government can do that the people can't do for themselves more efficiently and effectively. And so that was that whole famous comment, government is not the solution to the problem, government is the problem. And I'm more of a fan of that camp of thought, that the government and these institutions becoming too reliant and individuals becoming too reliant on the government does not necessarily build the kind of future that's ideal for America.
Well, it sort of sounds like you've been influenced by Frederick Winslow Taylor. And no, but these problems have been going on for a long time. And if I'm going to actually point the problem at one thing, it would have to be the Department of Education, because they don't teach people how to think critically. before the Great Depression, normal people used to invest in the stock market, and a few people got burned, which also would also bring me up to the original story of Wizard of Oz. Was when the farmers during, I think it was 1894 or 1895, tried cornering the silver market. They pleaded with the government to help save their farms, and the government told them they're not in the process of bailing people out.
All right. Well, there you heard it, folks, from Charlie from Tampa. Charlie, I got lots of calls to get to, so any final thoughts before I let you go?
No, you guys just have a good day and watch your money.
You do the same, Charlie. Be well and have a great Saturday, okay? Thanks for calling in. Alrighty, this is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. Charlie hanging up. It does open up a phone line, so I know lots of you trying to get in. Feel free to give us a call. Be patient. We are doing our very best to work through these calls. 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. All right, next, let's go back to Sarasota. This time we're going to talk to Eric. Eric, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Good morning.
Hey, Eric.
I have a question. We have a Florida revocable living trust, and we have money in FDIC-insured banks. What I wanted to know, how much is the FDIC insurance coverage on those accounts? I called up the FDIC line, and they gave me an answer that I really could not understand. It was so complicated. Could you tell me, is it how many people are in that trust, or how is that calculated?
So, Eric, here at the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, we work tirelessly to make big headlines relatable to our listeners. And the direct connection that I saw to my listeners and a lot of my clients between the Silicon Valley Bank story was FDIC. So I actually have the answer. According to financebuzz.com, there's essentially 3 requirements that a revocable trust must have in order to get FDIC coverage. All right. It must use specific language to make it clear it is a trust. Okay. That's some indications, a living trust. It can say family trust, some indication that there is a trust existence. Trust beneficiaries of the trust. This is number 2 of the 3 requirements. Trust beneficiaries must actually have a legal interest in the trust at the time the trust or the bank fails. So there has to be an actual vested interest. And the trust beneficiaries must either be living individuals or a charity or a nonprofit organization. So that's the 3 criteria for revocable trust as it relates to FDIC insurance.
So what does that mean in numbers? If we qualify for all of those 3 requirements, how much money can we put in a bank and still feel comfortable that it is insured?
So it's going to depend on how many of those beneficiaries have the vested interest. And it's a situation where they actually give an example on financebuzz.com. So giving them their credit. Here's the example that they give. Okay. And it's with regard to trust coverage, Eric. Trust accounts can be protected by $250,000 in coverage per beneficiary, as long as they meet the certain 3 criteria we just went over. So if you and your 5 siblings are all equal beneficiaries of a revocable trust and the bank holding that trust goes under, you'll each be protected by up to $250,000 for a total of $1.5 million in FDIC deposit insurance. So that is the calculation. But again, you got to meet those 3 criteria. But that's an example of where, the 250 can have a multiplier effect under a trust if it meets those criteria.
Well, thank you.
All righty, Eric. Thanks for listening to the show. What station are you listening on down in Sarasota?
930.
All right. Well, we appreciate your faithful listenership, and you enjoy the rest of your Saturday, okay?
Thank you.
All righty. 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. Today we're talking about Silicon Valley Bank and FDIC. And we were also talking a little bit about bank employees offering up advice sort of beyond the scope of banking advice in response to customers walking in with instructions from their attorney. And if you had a comment on that, if you're a bank employee who's given such advice or overheard a fellow employee given such advice and you wanted to share that, or if you're someone out there who's received this sort of advice from a bank employee and you want to share what they said, just call in. You can share the advice. Just don't give out the bank information, obviously. Just you can say a bank and then tell us what they said and we'd love to hear your story about what the bank advised you, or if you work for the bank, and if you're a bank employee out there giving this advice, we'd love to talk to you directly. So feel free to give us a call, 877-943-9673. Give us a call now or email me, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. All right, let's go to Bradenton. Now we're going to talk to John. John, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Good morning.
Hey, John.
Good morning. Question again, FDIC. If you title the account in joint owners, husband, wife, and then you put two beneficiaries, how much insurance is covered? Is it $250? Is it $5? What is it?
So I'm not 100% sure of the answer to that question. Now, according to the research I've done, I think the safest thing to say is that there's at least $250 of protection there. And here's the reason why, John. There's an FDIC cap per account holder per institution. So if that joint account holder, one of those two, also has another individual account at the bank, that can have an impact. But I would say there's at least $250 and possibly more. I don't think that so you're talking about beneficiaries on the account. Is this beneficiary under some sort of trust vehicle, or is this beneficiary directly on the account, like a payable on death or transfer on death provision?
It would be payable on death. No trust, just a joint account with two beneficiaries.
I don't think the beneficiaries at that point would add any additional protection, because I don't think you could say that they have any interest in the account at this point. Their interest doesn't come into realization or vest until both of the current account holders are deceased.
I see. The reason why I ask you, Patrick, called 3 different banks, 3 different answers, and that's why I'm calling you.
Well, okay, so let's go back to financebuzz.com, because they actually have an example. John, do you have a moment? I'll read their example, and you can tell me if that clarifies anything for you, okay?
Okay.
All right, so according to financebuzz.com, it says, let's say you keep your money at Acme Bank, where you have a joint checking account, 2 individual savings accounts, and an individual money market account. If Acme Bank goes under, those account categories will be taken into consideration when determining your FDIC protection. Your single accounts, the 2 savings accounts you alone own, and the individual money market fall under the single ownership category. This coverage is calculated per depositor, per institution, and not per account. So there's a situation where your total coverage as an individual is $250. All right. So you would have $250,000 in FDIC protection for all 3 combined. However, the joint checking account is insured separately because it falls into a different account ownership category. As a result, it would receive its own FDIC coverage for up to $250,000 per co-owner per institution. Again, that's according to financebuzz.com. So you see there, it's an application where you got the benefit because you had a different type of account. You had a single account, which is under 1 250 cap, and no matter how many single accounts you have, and then you have a different 250 application for the joint account. Does that make sense, John?
Well, yes and no. This is one account, not 2 different people, 2 different accounts. One account, joint owners. I was told $500,000 because it's a joint account, but another bank says no, $250. This is one account.
I personally read that as $250 as to the jointly held accounts. Now, I think you may also have an additional $250 out there for any single accounts per deposit per institution. But these are sort of murky waters, and the great way to sort of press the institution on this to see how much they believe in the advice they're giving you, ask them to reduce it to writing on their company letterhead.
Okay.
I think that's a great way
to.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the way to sort of press them, so you can know if they're just trying to get you, on to the next customer and not particularly give you the best answer. But that example, I think, makes it pretty clear. Well, it makes 2 things clear, John, to be honest with you. It makes it clear that it's extremely murky. And it also makes it clear that there's a difference between if it's a single account or a joint account. And then you also have to go through the analysis of, is that type of account, whether it's single or joint, even covered by FDIC? Because, checking accounts and savings accounts are treated differently under FDIC as, things like life insurance policies that are held by a bank. So there's different rules for the types of accounts, how they're titled, and how much is in the account. So it's a lot of moving parts, and there's a little bit of a calculus. The fact that it's not easy to calculate these things, whether it's by design or not, is the reality. And you're smart to sort of want to know ahead of time what would happen so that you can know what to expect should that bank fail.
So you feel it is a difference between a savings account and a checking account as far as insurance?
No, I think both of those accounts typically fall under FDIC insurance. I think it's different for like a checking savings account versus, say, you had a life insurance policy that was owned by or run through a bank. The custodian, the third party contract was entered into with the bank for the life insurance. I think that coverage is different than a typical checking, savings, or money market account under the way I read the FDIC coverage.
Yeah. Well, it's really, really complex, but I appreciate your input, and I'm going to continue to try to press them. When you call up, you're having people, who knows where they're getting their answers from. As I said, 3 different banks, 3 different answers.
Here's the other thing, John, because, I'm giving you legal advice here. I'm not giving you financial advisor advice.
Yeah,
do you have a financial advisor you work with?
Yes.
Reach out to your financial advisor. 2 things. Reach out to him, see what he says. Have you already asked him this question?
No, I did not.
I would, and then call back and let us know what he says. And if he's willing to come on the show, I'll give him some airtime. Now, it's hard. A lot of times financial advisors don't want to come on a live radio show because broker dealers get apoplectic at the idea of them, giving advice in real time. There's compliance issues, as I understand it, or at least that's been my experience when I've tried to book financial advisors in the past. But yeah, reach out to your advisor and relay the message, or tell them to reach out to me directly, and I'd be happy to talk with him about making an appearance on the show to add that angle of advice.
Okay, I appreciate that.
All righty. John, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
All righty. You're listening to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number to be part of today's broadcast. 877-943-9673. You can give us a call now, and we are happy to answer your legal questions of any type. But today we are discussing Silicon Valley Bank, FDIC insurance, and kind of bank operations in general as it relates to customers coming in with instructions from their attorney and getting a response that is not exactly following those directions, but offering alternative advice, and whether or not that has happened. Thank you. So 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number to be part of today's broadcast. We'd love to talk to you. So 877-943-9673, or you can always email me, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. While we're queuing up the next round of calls, let me tease you for an episode of the Attorney Patrick Smith Show coming up in a couple of weeks. So next week, of course, we have our Attorney Patrick Smith Show on remote on location broadcast for our annual trip to the Model Senate at Stetson University. So we're going to be live there in DeLand at the University Radio Studio facility. And a special thank you to everyone there. Lane, who I understand runs the radio station there, and Joe Weaver, everyone working hard to make that broadcast happen. The following week is actually the week we plan to do our show on the new House bill. I believe it's 437 and Senate Bill 236, both addressing tort reform in Florida. So regarding making modifications to certain types of damages you can recover and potential caps. So we'll be doing that. And joining us in studio for that presentation will be Attorney Jared Bailey, who has a background in personal injury law. And of course, he can, field your questions about what the legislation does, what it doesn't do. So that show will be 2 weeks out. But next week will be our Model Senate broadcast from DeLand at Stetson University. And then a couple weeks after that will be our show on the proposed tort reform, House Bill 437, Senate Bill 236. So we look forward to doing both of those broadcasts with you. If you want to be part of today's show, 877-943-9673. Give us a call now. We're live and local. And again, to reach us at the office during the week, that number, 877-754-6764. Again, toll free. You can call anywhere in the state for any of our offices, Sarasota, Clearwater, Sun City Center. Hey, Vern, down in Sun City Center. I talked to Vern recently. Appreciate Vern so much, working so hard down there at Sun Radio, getting us on the air. So thank you. Vern's also my official show tracker. He tracks the number of shows for me. and lets me know when we're coming up. I told him, let me know when we're coming up on our 100th broadcast so we could kind of do something special. But we're about, from my understanding, about 25, 24 shows away from that. So, but again, to reach out to our office to schedule a complimentary consultation with me at any of the office locations, 877-754-6764. All right. But to reach us today, 877-943-9673, or email me, Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com. All right. Next, we are going to go to Largo, and we're going to talk to Ellen. Ellen, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Oh, great. I wanted to compliment you on giving the phone number out a lot of times. That really helps us older people that rush to get a piece of paper.
Ellen, let me tell you something. You have no idea how much I appreciate that comment, because guess what the number one critique I get from listeners of the show is about? Guess what it's about?
What?
The phone number. So some people say, I've heard some people say, well, you give it out too often, or you don't give it out enough. And some people say you give it out and you say it too fast. So I have to sort of hit, I feel like Abe Lincoln sometimes. It's some of the people all the time, all the people some of the time, but never all the people all the time. So Ellen, we appreciate you appreciating our rate and efficiency with which we give out the phone number. So thank you for that, Ellen. How can we help you today?
Okay. I see all these ads on TV for home title and people stealing your property, your house. How common is that? Or is there just a whole lot of ads, so that they can get your money?
I will tell you this. I haven't seen a case of it directly. So in all the cases I've handled over the years, I'm sure it's happened out there, just not within my practice. So in my opinion on that would be, from my perspective, it's pretty rare.
Okay. One other thing, would it be harder for them to steal it if your property is in a trust?
I think that would be a question dependent upon how the trust was designed. I think it's possible, yes. For instance, if you had something in the trust that made the trust irrevocable, meaning unchangeable, so that nothing could be moved in or out of the trust, I think that would add an extra layer, because then you would obviously have anyone, so if they tried to fraudulently convey title and then sell to a third party, that third party is going to want to see how, when they do the title search, how did they get the property out of an irrevocable trust? So it'll raise some red flags, and it puts up resistance. And a lot of times these malfeasers who are trying to commit this sort of fraud, any sort of resistance they encounter, they abandon that one and go on to someone who's not going to apply resistance. So that's one of those situations where if you can make it the slightest bit difficult, they know there's plenty of other fish in the sea, so to speak. So they will just move on to someone else, and that'll sort of spare you from having to deal with that catastrophe.
Do you think that I'm with LifeLock? Do you think that do you advise that? Do you think that's good to have LifeLock?
I think you do what gives you peace of mind, Ellen. I mean, if you've read the LifeLock coverage and you're happy with what's there, I don't think it hurts anything to have it. I think it's a matter of doing whatever kind of gives Ellen peace of mind and helps you sleep at night.
Okay, so you wouldn't recommend it for anybody necessarily?
I think it's case by case. So as far as your personal situation, call the office. I've got an office right up the road from you in Clearwater. Bring in your LifeLock agreement and the contract. Bring in your financials. I'll walk you through it, and I'll tell you what I think in the confidentiality and privacy of the office as far as your particular application to your LifeLock coverage.
Okay, where is your office?
1550 South Highland Avenue in the Jordan Hills Plaza.
Is that in Tampa?
No, Clearwater.
Oh, Clearwater. Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. And could you give out the phone number again for your office?
Yeah, the office line, for those of you who want to contact us during the week to schedule in Clearwater or any of the other offices, 877-754-6764. Again, that's 877-754-6764.
Oh, okay. All right. That would be your closest to me then?
Yes, ma'am. That would definitely be the closest to the city of Largo.
Well, you've been such a help. I appreciate it very much.
Well, I appreciate your kind words. You're exactly why we do this show, Ellen. Thank you for calling in.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All righty, you're listening to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith. 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number to be part of today's show. 877-943-9673. Or email me, Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com. Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com. By the way, that email address is good 24/7. I answer emails constantly, and you are welcome to email me there during the week as well. If you want to request an appointment or have a question, we'll be happy to do our very best to help you out. But we always love to talk to you live. 877-943-9673 to reach the studio lines this morning. Next, let's go back to Sarasota. Boy, Sarasota's busy this morning. We're going to talk to Charlie. Charlie, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Hi, I have the same feelings about your program that everybody else is telling you. That it's a great show. You do a great job, and I listen to it every week.
Well,
anyway,
we appreciate your faithful listenership. Charlie, how can I help you today?
This is a problem that musicians have, and many other people, contractors that do gig work. The W-9 form, I understand, is required if any individual makes $600 from a given place, and that's when they require a W-9 form to be filled out for taxes. But when bands, for example, go to a rinky-dink bar or a restaurant, the restaurant will require the W-9 form, even if these musicians make $50 that night or $100. And they still, many of these restaurants and bars and all these places require, well, we need a W-9 form, and that is with your Social Security number. And so many musicians say, what do I need to give out this confidential information to this bar that I'm going to make $100 or $50? And they are saying, we require this. And then the law is $600. So the bars and these restaurants get all this confidential information. Hopefully they don't do it. But I would think there should be some safeguard. They should maybe be required to show anybody they require that information from how they treat that information.
Well, well, to answer your question,
Okay.
Charlie, so I think the short answer is check with an accountant. And I think that there may be more optimal ways to handle this. For instance, if you set up some sort of LLC or legal entity and had a tax ID number with that, they could issue potentially maybe the W-9 to that entity and not to you personally. It could flow through. But did you hear our show a couple weeks ago with Dwayne Bischoff, the CPA we had on for our tax special?
I don't recall.
All right. Call me at the office this week, and I'll give you Dwayne's number, put you in touch with him. I would ask him that question directly and see what he says. It's a fantastic question, and I'll get the answer from you or Dwayne and follow up with the listeners on the show as far as what safeguards, because I share your pain. I don't like going to doctor's offices or anywhere where they're like, we need your social. I don't like giving it out. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot.
All righty, Charlie. Have a great day, okay?
Yep. Bye-bye.
All righty. Quickly, we're going to go back to Sarasota, talk to Susie. Susie, can you do it in about 30 seconds?
I can try.
All right, go.
Ready?
Yes.
Okay, my husband and I, about 12 years ago, bought a home for sale by owner. He got a letter from the owner 12 years in that says, after being late a few times, never missing any payments, that he was ready to do a balloon payment. He needed $37,000. Now, my husband was 80 years old at the time, and he panicked a little bit, sent the letter to his stepson or his adopted son. That son contacted this for sale by owner and bought our home out from under us for $37,000.
Okay. So here's what I want you to do. Get all that paperwork, call my office. I have a Sarasota location, bring it in free of charge. I'll look over everything with you and tell you what I think you should do. Okay.
Okay, can you take me back off air because I'm driving? I have no way to write down a number.
Yeah,
or
I'll have them put you back on hold. If you'll put Susie back on hold and someone give her the office line, that would be excellent. All right, Susie, I got to wrap up the show, but thank you so much for calling in. Okay.
You're welcome.
All righty, have a great day. All righty, this is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. Don't forget to head over to Indian Rocks Baptist Church next. See me at Shepherd's Village Solo Parent Conference. Again, the office line 877-754-6764 to reach me throughout the week. Everyone stay safe, God bless, and go Gators.
The preceding